Further edition of NASCAR Talk. Looking forward to Richmond International Raceway, which is being run tonight under the lights. We think they are predicting 90% chance of rain, so we may end up not seeing it till tomorrow. But I do want to first off apologize for the fact that the NASCAR Talk last week the file ended up getting corrupted. I was not able to upload it. We had great talk, but hopefully we'll have a good talk this week. So I'm being joined here this week by a whole host of guys: Austin Mongold, Dougie Shears, Michael Norman, Nathan Hudson, Charles Belding, Jay Gardner, and Trent Dunham. Actually, I got to add Stephen Paul III in here as well. But thank you guys for joining me here for this week.
Yeah, there's no problem.
You look always see my name.
Great to be here.
Out and saying
Happy to be back
episode of
here.
NASCAR Talk
Cross the fuck.
the late Steve Byrnes.
Yeah, that's true. This episode is going to be in memory of Steve Byrnes, who died on.
Steve, we miss you, bud. Man, you're a good member of the NASCAR community.
There we go. Now we got Stephen in here too. Stephen Paul III's in the building too.
Steve Byrnes was definitely an original to me.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, he was a huge inspiration to me. If it wasn't for him, absolutely what I wanted to do in the NASCAR, like race or do commentary or work the pits, and that's what I want to do now. Byrnesy, thank you.
You know, the thing that I love too is the fact that he was actually able to watch that one race that was in his honor before he died.
Yeah, that was brilliant. That was a good call by Matt.
I feel like it's been a long time since we've seen an honor like that in tribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last time? That's a good question.
Third lap.
Yeah. It's been
Yeah,
very
that-
hard on me for the past few days without Byrnesy being around.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
really hard.
I remember like watching like the old the crying towel episodes,
Oh, the
and I
Jimmy
just
Spencer
remember.
Cullen Hall. I think.
Yeah, I think without Steve around, I think without Steve around, I think the magic of off the track humor and all that's gone really.
Pretty
Sadly.
much, yeah.
I'll never
Yeah,
forget
it's-
the Tony Stewart interview we had at Autoclub a couple years ago. Hilarious.
Yeah, about busting Joey Logano's ass.
No.
Great.
I'm going to bust his ass.
Oh god.
That was a good interview that he had.
Any funny moments with Steve Byrnes in the past, or like any memorable interviews? And then Stewart, he was just freaking mad, and he would just.
I remember when Dale Waltrip told him do it, and then he said no I won't, and then do it, and then okay, then boogity, and it was like, oh my god, my mind's blown.
Yeah, I do remember that one. Yes.
He was a good favorite. He was there every Fox race until he got cancer. That's bad. You know, he's one of the original group members who was there in the 2001 500.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and he was back. He was
Yeah.
with TNN for a while before they lost NASCAR coverage too.
Yeah,
I think he was the one who gave Earnhardt an interview before the 500. I don't think a lot of people seen that though.
I think it was.
Was it him?
did he?
I think it was. No, Byrnesy. I don't know. No, it was Darrell Waltrip in Victory Lane.
No, it wasn't. For some reason, I'm wanting to say it was. I don't think it was Byrnes who did the Earnhardt Senior 500. Are you talking about Earnhardt Senior's 2001 500?
Yeah, the one.
Yeah.
I don't think that was him.
I don't think it was either.
But anyway, it was probably one of the most popular figures within the NASCAR community and within TVs, within hosts and TV and people and all that.
Right.
Totally.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, some of the hilarious stuff that happened in NASCAR wouldn't have happened without him being there or anything.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like when like your favorite comedian or your favorite nice guy is gone and he will never come back. Like it hits you in the heart as not only as a fan of the person, but you actually know the person for this long.
I mean, in all honesty, and I'm not trying to sound sappy in this way, but you know, when you follow a sport like we follow NASCAR, I'm not gonna say that it is exactly like family, but you get a sense of, you know, like you recognize, you kind of feel like you know those people, you have some kind of a bond with them in the fact that you're interested in NASCAR, but I mean, there really honestly is a feeling of loss, and I certainly did feel that when I heard that Steve Byrnes had died. So I mean,
yeah, I remember exactly what I was doing that day too. I was in my English class talking with Stephanie on kick, and my heart started feeling really weird, and I felt like I was going to throw up. And sure enough, I checked I think I checked Google, and I searched up something on Steve, and then all of a sudden I see that he died, and I started crying my eyes out.
Yeah, it was the same thing with me. I just got back from school. The bus was late, and I felt like, that's a bit odd. Why is it late? And then when I got home, I found out that Steve passed away, and I was like, oh my god, is this a coincidence or something, or what? What's about what?
Yeah, when I
was like completely shocked.
Yeah, I ended up finding out Poteet put the Steve Byrnes Fox logo from last week. April, he put it up as his Facebook banner, and then I think it was not too long after. I think it was Mongold actually posted it in the Manchester Enter 2003 group chat, and that's when I found out.
Yeah,
that's about when I found out.
It's sad, but
Yeah,
totally.
I remember first hearing this news. I was able to find out the news like immediately afterwards, and I feel like that my first reaction. I don't want to say that I was like crying. I was definitely felt sad, but I think I was just simply upset and kind of was like F you to cancer and just like a bunch of other like sad like angry stuff just because I was just really upset.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the thing that makes everyone hurt is the big post on Twitter. I went the distance.
Yeah,
that was the one.
and not only that, but I think that also what made it hit harder was the fact 2 days or less than 48 hours before there had been a race run in his honor, and here you find out less than 2 days later he succumbed. He's gone. He succumbed to cancer.
I mean, the whole incident. I hate to change the subject or anything like that, but this whole incident reminds me of like the Warrior. You know, like
they
honor him. They honor him, and then 2 days and I just checked Facebook, and everyone was saying how Steve Byrnes had died.
Yeah, all you guys know what happened like 6 months ago when this is from a personal side to it. Like, my grandfather passed away, and you all remember, and you were right beside us and saying like, we hope you're alright, man, etc. I think everyone in the community, in the NASCAR community, be saying the same thing to Steve Byrnes' family at the moment, and something that they probably have to go through for years.
Well,
honestly,
that's like a couple of years ago, and Dad passed away.
Yep.
The whole community was there, asking if I was all right. Hey, if you need anything, just
we're a band of brothers, really. In the NASCAR, if like something bad's happened, we always stand up for one another.
Yep.
And that's life.
So
you never know how close you are to somebody until they die.
Yeah, that's true. So, as I said, this episode is going to be in memory of Steve. Let's talk about the race that was dedicated to him at Bristol. How many people stayed up to watch the end?
Oh my god!
I did.
I personally, I hated the ending.
I definitely did, but I hated the finish.
They should have just did like
I'll walk around.
I didn't really like the finish then.
It started raining. They should have called the caution. They called the caution. They should have just.
They should have called the race right then.
Yeah, they should have just said, okay, well, we're here at the end. I guess there's no way, so let's just end it like last year.
Well, see, here's my thinking on it. If it were any other track, okay, that's race. But what about Bristol? Bristol's a short track. It doesn't take them a whole lot of time to get the track dry.
Demolition Derby.
I mean, it doesn't take them forever to get the track dried out. They had that small pocket they were able to work with. So, in all honesty, I honestly did not have a problem with them trying to get that last bit into finish out the race.
That was actually good. A green finish for the fans instead of just seeing Matt Kenseth win on the car.
I know. It would have been the same result. Kenseth would have won the race either way. He won it under green, or he would have run it under the rain called race. So that didn't make much of a difference.
I just get what happened more just one sideways race if it ended because of rain.
I think Austin Dillon got third place, but
I mean, would you rather finish under green, or would you rather finish not to the...
That a track where they can get it cleared up quickly, and they have enough time to be able to finish the race out. I'd like to see the green flag finish.
Hey, I got a question.
Exactly. Depends on how exciting the green flag finish is.
So,
I mean, overall, I really enjoyed the Bristol race.
If it
All
was,
everyone just hate...
I like Bristol very much too, despite the rain delays.
Yeah, the rain delay kind of was like, why? But I mean, I did stuff during the period of that, like 5 hours or something. And then I came back and watched the whole rest of the race, and I enjoyed it.
I just feel like...
Yeah, I remember doing that rain delay.
No,
I was sitting on my ass playing Town of Salem with you, Seth. I remember.
Yeah.
So I'm reading this, and this is about tonight. It says, and this is from someone who was almost in the call, and saying that Jeb Burton, again last night, will replace J.J. Yaley in the 20s tonight.
Wait, what?
What? Jeff Burton. Is it Jeff Burton? Oh, Jeb Burton.
Jeb.
Yeah, GEB. He's gonna replace J.J. Yaley, but we don't know if it's
It's
conference.
because they're... Is this of 2005 rookie points?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
the only rookie of the year. Who's all rookie of the year? I can't tell. Burton. I know Burton.
You could put Jeb Burton. He still finished behind Brett Moffitt. Well, anyway, looking forward from one short track to another short track, Richmond. Of course, there's still that big question of whether we're going to even be able to have a green flag waved tonight. But on the poll, Denny Hamlin in second. There was a lot of questions about Denny Hamlin with the neck spasms last week when he had Eric Jones replace him after the rain delay. Well, I guess Hamlin's okay because he won the Xfinity race last night.
Yep. Can I say something really quick on my prediction about tonight's race if we had the rain though, Seth?
What?
I see a race Monday early or mid morning.
This works out good for NASCAR in the fact that this is a Saturday night race with a chance of rain.
Yeah.
Because now they're going to be able to still have people watch it on the weekend if they schedule it on Sunday. When it's a Sunday race, they have to reschedule it Monday. That's when it kind of gets iffy.
Yeah, biggest one has.
Yeah, that's when we get down on days when that happens.
I kind of feel like that it's not exactly certain that I don't think it's like it's too soon to be like, oh yeah, we're not racing tonight. But I just feel like the race will likely be tomorrow. But I kind of feel like, to me, if I would like to see one type of race, I would like to see a day race because to me, Richmond is like 2 nights every year. Where I feel like, well, to me, the a race. That's my opinion.
And you think about it too. I mean, Richmond, if they do get racing tonight, it's another short track. They may be able to, get it. But these guys are going to be heading up to another green track.
You know what I say?
What?
I'm going to quote Trevor Bain from last year's Daytona 500. Whoever can race in the rain and do it best is the winner.
Rain racing Richmond would be interesting.
I don't have those
Yeah,
rain
at least
tires.
it didn't rain like it did last time we were at Richmond.
So looking ahead to Richmond, a couple of surprise names maybe up there in the front of this field, and one of them I think that stands out, a guy who's actually been struggling this season, at least in the last couple of weeks, but trying to make the chase for the second straight season. AJ Allmendinger going to start off from 4th place. How much of a factor do you think he's going to be?
Probably lose another rear gear.
I think it depends.
I don't think he'll be too much of a factor. I think.
And
I
then,
don't think he's much of a factor until road courses.
right. There's another factor too, another driver. Of course, Martinsville was his debut, but Chase Elliott made second Sprint Cup Series start, qualified in 16th for this race, and I didn't get to watch the Xfinity race last night, but from what I understood, he was up near the front in that race. So
Sorry, that was me.
So is this going to be a breakout race for Chase Elliott here at Richmond? Because we really didn't get to see much out of him at Martinsville.
Unless Brett Moffitt breaks.
I was gonna say, hopefully he'll be better than Martin.
Maybe, because Martinsville is way more chaotic than this, so I think
Yeah,
he'll actually have.
I hope he does better than Moffitt, but
What we realized is Jeff Green out-qualified Hendrick and Ross.
Yeah, Jeff Green qualifies the number 30, something Ron Hornaday was not able to do this entire season.
That was amazing.
That is pretty doggone cool.
I was on my feet cheering for Jeff Green.
That moment
team
when
was-
Jeff Green out-qualifies a 6-time Sprint Cup Series champion.
out-qualifies all the 100
Well, Jeff Green did win the Xfinity Championship in 2000.
That's true. True. But I mean, we haven't heard of Jeff Green in Sprint Cup Series in ages, so.
Yeah.
Wasn't it the last
What was the last time?
time out? I'm trying to talk here.
Sorry, Jace.
That Jeff Green last ran in the Sprint Cup Series race was what, 2010?
11.
Was it?
I thought it was 2010 because with Latitude 43.
No, he ran for like Gunsman's crappy team.
Shitty ass 64 team.
No, it was the 3017, but.
Oh yeah, I remember that team.
That was
Yeah, the best story about that team was they denied Austin Dillon to run that car.
Did they really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin Dillon, RCR tried to buy the 37, but Gunsman kept denying. So they
Oh,
went to the 98.
Yeah, they denied the Austin Dillon rumor. Good call.
That's
But wait,
funny.
didn't Larry Gunzelman own the 64 and the 37 before too?
Oh, Jeff
Right.
Green's last champion cup was 2012 Bristol, and he spun out and hit the wall during qualifying. Spun out again, now they're second lap.
what'd he drive then?
The 37 Gunsman.
Oh, was it 37 then too? Oh, okay.
Oh, he did make one cup race 11, but only lasted 11 laps because he started parked for front row.
Yeah.
How about Danica last week, though?
Oh, the hype about Danica is so real.
Well, I was very well. The thing is, I was very impressed because the thing is, I think she came back from 2 laps down, and I think she was in like a couple of crashes. So I was actually surprised to see her finish inside the top 10. And once again, another very tough track. And I feel like she actually went from 17th to 13th in points. So I feel like that as of right now, I'm kind of like.
Wow. David
don't-
Reagan did kind of crash.
So I'm just kind of like, don't count out her yet. She might, she could sneak her way in there.
You know, another driver that I was really impressed with in that particular race was Justin Allgaier. I saw him
Oh, yeah.
when he qualified up there at the front. I thought, well, they got a good car, but I didn't really see him running up there at the front. He ran up there in the top 10 pretty much all night long. I was really impressed with that team.
At
Yeah,
one
that's
point, he
what's
was
going on
fifth.
there. I mean, that's just, and that team's doing crap, but that still gives a lot of resources for the team, like for extra information.
I feel like
also
overall
weird-
last week. I feel like overall last week was pretty good for drivers who have not had great seasons. Like for example, Stenhouse finished 4th, Stewart finished 6th, Larson 7th, and Austin Dillon 10th. But he couldn't finish 3rd, obviously.
Right.
So I feel like overall it was a good race for those drivers. Matt DiBenedetto finished 21st.
Yeah. Isn't he starting up? Where's Matt DiBenedetto starting anyway for this week? I can't remember now.
He's starting like
37.
yeah,
Ouch.
37.
I thought that was Jimmy Johnson starting 37.
No, Johnson's starting 36th.
Oh, that's good because Johnson's starting on the outside.
Yeah. All right.
I just hate Johnson's guts after what he did last week.
The game starts for you.
Yeah, he starts way back there too. Yeah. The only Hendrick car that
It's
actually
so
did
weird.
well in qualifying was Gordon. He's gonna be 11th because Junior is starting 26th.
And Chase Elliott,
So weird.
Oh yeah, Chase Elliott, 16th. Yeah, I forgot. I keep forgetting he's a Hendrick car because.
You got Junior 26. You got Johnson in the back. You got Casey Kane starting 40th.
I hope Jimmy Johnson gets caught up in a wreck.
That'd be nice.
I do too.
Honestly,
He
I
never,
mean,
he never
in the
just.
back,
Jimmy
asking.
Johnson haters.
I just noticed Trent left the call.
Oh yeah.
Was it?
All right. Well, anyway, let's get to our picks for Richmond. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do the normal format. You're gonna give me a driver that you think is gonna dominate the race and win. You're gonna give me a driver that you think is gonna be a dark horse that we might not necessarily expect to be up there at the front and maybe a factor in the victory, or at least get a solid run of maybe a top 5 or a top 10. And then last but not least, a driver that you think people should stay away from. They may look and say, oh, he looks like he could be a good pick, but you don't think he's going to perform tonight. So let's start off with Austin Mongold. Who's your picks tonight?
I'm picking the guy I usually pick. I'm picking Kevin Harvick.
Okay.
And for the dark horse, I would have to say, Jeff Gordon, because he hasn't really performed that well there in about a year or so. Well, yeah. And the driver to stay away from, I'd have to say Paul Menard. I don't know why, but I just have to say him because his stats at Richmond aren't really up to par with his stats at like other tracks.
All right.
So that's really it.
Okay, Dougie, your picks.
Well, first off, the dominating car this season. How many top 10s and top 5s has this guy got? Let's see. There was Daytona, Phoenix, Auto Club. I'm picking Kevin Harvick to dominate the race. My dark horse. Hey guys.
Yeah, who's got the background music?
Yeah, come on now.
Not me.
Nathan, can you?
It's not me.
That is actually you, Nathan. Can you mute your mic until it comes to you?
But oh, no, right. Jeez.
I think the dark horse. Thank you. The dark horse would have to be Kyle Larson. And then the guy to stay away from, honestly, I don't see the hype in all the Chase Elliott hype, but he's starting 16th. They might have just had a good car to run 2 rounds in qualifying and might do shitty in the race. So stay away from Chase Elliott.
All right, let's move to Michael.
All right, my pick to win the race will be that number 22 of Joey Logano. He does very well at Richmond. He's also starting on pole. Dark horse, I will pick Chase Elliott as my dark horse. And the person to stay away from will be Jimmy Johnson because he does horribly at Richmond all the time.
All right, Steven.
My pick to dominate is Keselowski. He led 383 laps last year. He's gonna do good. I think he's not gonna have as dominating, but I think he's gonna dominate the race too. My dark horse, I'm gonna pick Kyle Larson. You know, because he needs not Kyle Larson, David Reagan, because he fell to 18th in points, like I mentioned. He is getting the boot from the 18 car in the next 2 weeks, and I think he wants to show why they did not want to boot him out of the 18 car. And a person to stay away from, I'm gonna pick Casey Kane, not because you're going low in the points, is they haven't been running well, and starting 40th also does not really help you. And I say Chase Elliott does not finish in the top 20. That's just my opinion.
All right, let's move to Charles Belding.
Okay, so first of all, I just kind of want to kind of get this out of the way, and I was trying to say this earlier. Personally, I think this is my second Arch against like a NASCAR goes to, so it's kind of hard to like really pick drivers or even like get into the race. But anyway, back on topic here. So my driver who I think is going to dominate or win, well maybe not dominate, but I think do well and most likely win. I'm going to pick, even though he started 11th, I'm going to pick Jeff Warren. I think there's just something about him that in my brain is just clicking that he will do well. He's led. I'm looking at the stats right here. He's led 1,637 laps here, which I think is more than any other driver. He has 28 top 10s and wait a second. I want to make sure I'm looking at everything here. Yeah, 28 top 10s, 18 top 5s, and 2 wins are here. And I feel like as far as a dark horse, I'm going to pick Jamie McMurray just because I feel like there was that race 2 years ago where it was like he lost the race on green white checkered because Harvick had the pressure tires. So that's my dark horse. And a driver to stay away from, I'm surprised he has not been picked yet. Clint Boyer.
Yeah.
one main reason is because of what happened in September of 2013, and
Yeah.
and one other reason is because of what happened a year ago, where I felt like he started third, Larson started first, and he kind of made that. I wouldn't say that he made like
He
purposely
dumped
a dumb move. I just think he made a very unnecessary move on the first lap entering turn 1. And the thing is, Kyle Larson is just, as of right now, not a driver who I think can really recover from mistakes, because the thing is, that was one thing that Larson was never able to recover from last year. Start on pole, never led a single lap because of that crash.
All right, let's go to Johnny. Your picks.
Okay. But I'm gonna type them because I'm trying to eat breakfast too, so I'm gonna type them.
Okay.
So while he types his, Seth, you tell us yours.
Well, we got Nathan.
Oh, Nathan. Okay, Nathan, go ahead.
Okay. As much I hate to say this, my first choice, Danny Hamlet do the double. My dark horse for the race will be, I'm gonna say, since I've got his hat on, I'm gonna say Jeff Gordon. And the guy to stay away from is possibly I'm gonna say Carl Edwards.
All right. Johnny is still typing down his picks, so I'll give you my picks here. I'm gonna go on board with Charles Belding on this one. I think Jeff Gordon's the guy to pick. And Charles, you were given the career stats at Richmond. I'll do you one better. In his last 4 starts at Richmond, Jeff Gordon has an average finish of about 5th place. He's led 222 laps, and out of those 4 starts, he's had 3 finishes inside of the top 10. And, you know, with what I saw last week at Bristol, Gordon, he fell down with a loose wheel. He fell 2 laps down, but so did Greg Biffle, so did Truex, so did Dale Jr. None of those 3 drivers were able to battle back and get a good finish like Jeff Gordon did. Gordon showed something last week that he wants to get up there and get the finishes necessary to get him into the chase, and he's been so close on so many occasions. He's tried rolling the dice, tried doing pit strategy. It's just not worked out for him. He needs that win to get into the chase. I think Richmond could be a place for him to do it because he's so good at this particular track. The big thing he's going to have to do is he's going to have to get up through the field quickly enough to be able to get up there with Logano and Hamlin, that we know for certain, being on the front row, they're going to be hard to pass when he catches them. My dark horse for this one, I haven't picked him this entire season, but he has been very consistent, and he's qualified in the top 10 again for tonight's race. Jamie McMurray, because McMurray, really, you're going to see Jamie McMurray probably get into the top 16 in points and end up making the chase that way if he's not able to go to victory lane at a restrictor plate track like Daytona later on in July. I think McMurray...
Or Dega next week.
Yeah, I think McMurray, honestly, is going to be a factor into a top 5 finish here tonight. And also, if you look at McMurray's last 4 starts, he's got an average finish of just outside of the top 10. So I think Jamie McMurray is not a bad pick for a dark horse. My driver to stay away from, I'm also going to go on board with Mongold on this one and say that Jimmy Johnson is the guy to stay away from, because Jimmy Johnson is not very good at this track. And with the fact that he had such a poor qualifying run, he's going to have to try and work his way through traffic early. His car's probably not going to handle very well in traffic. And he's got a 23rd place average finish in his last 4 starts at this track. Only 1 top 10 at Richmond in his last 4 starts. Jimmy Johnson is not the guy you want to pick when it comes to this particular track. And we're still waiting for Gardner's picks to come up here.
We're probably going to be waiting for a long time.
Probably.
Did you guys touch on the fact that Eric Jones might drive the 18 after Kansas?
He will drive the 18. And in case you didn't know, it was announced very late last night that the thing is starting at Kansas, David Reagan will move over to the 55. Yeah. Eric Jones will be in the 18 until Kyle Busch comes back. Reagan will be in the 55, I think, for the rest of the season, which I think is Michael Waltrip's Racing's sort of subtle way of, we don't want Brian Vickers anymore. That's just my opinion.
Johnny's picks is on.
Okay, if someone can read them, I have to take a phone call.
He says Brad Keselowski to win. Chase Elliott is a dark horse. Also, Casey Mears is a dark horse. And Jimmy Johnson to stay away. Alright.
Yeah, very interesting pick.
Oh, okay, I was wondering.
But while Seth's gone, let's see. What else do we have to talk about?
The fire, the incident.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of cars that caught fire in this race last
Oh
year.
yeah. So do you think we'll see the same thing happen this year, or not
I
really?
don't know. It just depends. Cause a lot of the cars caught fire due to like tire issues.
Do you think you're a better type?
It depends if Goodyear brought the same tire. Cause in the fall race last year, we didn't have cars catching on fire. Yeah, we didn't have catching fire. I think. And,
I feel. Okay. I want to speaking about the tires. I feel like one thing that has been talked about. I think sort of if you've been like following like threads. Like for example, I like to follow like threads talking about like the race weekends. And one thing that has been like kind of discussed about is how like what type of race we're going to get at Richmond. And I think the reason why people are asking that question is because of a race like last September, which in my opinion was the worst NASCAR race, sprint car race to be exact, that I had ever watched. In my opinion, I just feel like
terrible.
Yeah,
the only thing he's saying about last September's race
last September was a race that had last September was a race that had almost like nothing happened, and it was Richmond.
That was
and it was
fast.
Yeah, and it was Richmond, a short track.
I think the best thing that came out of last year's Richmond race, last September's, was the spectator jumping on the fence and climbing the fence.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I am back. I do apologize.
Oh, it's okay. So I took control of the.
It's all right, man.
My parents were calling to give me the countdown. 2.5 hours till puppy time.
Apology, not
Puppy!
Oh, puppy!
2.5 hours. Wait, till they get the puppy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Apology
he
not
said he's
accepted,
picking up
Seth.
today.
The thing that irritated me the most about the September race last year is that Brad Keselowski dominated the race. I mean, yeah, it was nice because Kevin Harvick was the only other person that could challenge him, and his car just fell apart at the end. But I noticed it kind of went back to the old Richmond where they would use the highlight instead of the bottom. So I'm not sure if we're gonna see that, because it was a super green racetrack. Because it rained, it looked like somebody just took a bucket and then just dumped it on the track. It was just that bad. Tires floating in the infield. It was just nuts.
I remember that.
I didn't see the Xfinity race last night, but I think
That's kind of the one thing I like to talk about.
Yeah, that's
Did they
something
all
to
not-
put out.
did they try to run the bottom last night?
I watched the Xfinity race last night. There wasn't really much racing going on last night. I could just tell you that for anyone who didn't watch that race. I just kind of feel like, because the thing is, Denny Hamlin led 248 out of 250 laps. The only drivers to lead laps were Ryan Scott, who was actually the only driver to actually pass Hamlin on something that wasn't like a green flag pit stop. Elliott Sadler led one lap just because there was a cycle of green flag pit stops. But to me, in my opinion, I kind of feel like I'm not trying to like, no offense to Roush when I say this right here, but I think to me, I think to me the Xfinity series as of right now is kind of like Roush Fenway. I think the series is kind of struggling to be the series that I feel like it once was, because to me, I feel like the biggest problem with the series is that to me there's like no competition. Like literally, like when you think about like last week at Bristol with Logano leading all 300 laps and winning that race, and then Hamlin leading 240 out of 250. That's 550 laps. There were only two laps that were not led by Cup drivers, and I'm not saying that I'm like get rid of the Cup drivers, because I feel like if we got rid of the Cup drivers, then the series would actually get damaged even more, in my opinion. I just feel like to me, I would like to see from the Xfinity series is just more competition, not just like 20 races every single season where it's like one driver leads almost all the laps and wins, and there's like no one who can catch them.
Well, here's the thing for me. I mean, and people are gonna be like, "Well, Eric Jones won a race." Well, yeah, but that was like one race that an actual Xfinity Series driver ran, with the exception of Ryan
Ryan
Reed at Daytona. So,
But Eric Jones is a Truck Series regular.
right. Well, he is a Truck Series regular, but he's not a Sprint Cup Series driver. I mean, trucks. When you think about it, it's almost like NASCAR. To me, is set up like baseball is. You got the Truck Series, which is Double A. You've got the Xfinity Series, that's Triple A, and then the Major Leagues is the Sprint Cup Series. And I don't have a problem with a guy that's running it, that's in Double A, also being in Triple A. But if you're a guy that's up in the majors, unless you are, unless there's like some really outstanding reason, I don't see why you need to be down in the Xfinity Series. I mean, in my opinion, it's almost as if, the Xfinity Series teams, they're utilizing the drivers from Sprint Cup in order to get more money to be able to, develop their team better. And the Xfinity drivers, or the Sprint Cup drivers that are racing there, they're getting more experience and one up on the other guys that they're going to be racing the following day in the Sprint Cup Series race. And for me, I honestly think, and I've said this pretty much ever since the whole domination from Sprint Cup Series drivers has taken place in what was then Nationwide and now the Xfinity Series, is if you removed them, I think it would make the sport better. I don't think it would be struggling anymore, because the thing is, people don't tune into the Xfinity race very much anymore because they're like, oh, it's going to be Kyle Busch when he comes back, or it's going to be Kevin Harvick, or it's going to be Joey Logano or Hamlin. They don't tune in anymore because they know that the competition isn't there, because it's much more experienced drivers versus drivers that are trying to gain experience.
But you got to think, some of those sponsors just sponsor like one driver, like iSense with
Like
Denny
Monster
Hamlin.
Energy.
Yeah, Monster Energy with Kyle Busch. There's multiple other ones, like TaxSlayer.com sponsoring Junior, and then his team's having to go like, oh, Breyer's ice cream, and all this other sponsorship.
Yeah,
There's certain sponsorships that don't want to sponsor young, quote unquote, punks.
and
Or I'm being edgy now, but
I mean, I understand that, but look at the teams we're talking about there. We're talking about Joe Gibbs Racing, a team that has,
JL Motorsport.
yeah, they've been, Joe Gibbs Racing's been in the sport for years. It's not, I honestly don't think they're a team that's going to be really hurting for sponsorship, regardless of whether they don't put Denny Hamlin or Kyle Busch in the car week after week. Same with Junior Motorsports. I mean, Dale Earnhardt Jr., I don't see him hurting at all as financially, whether he's in the car or not, or whether Harvick's in the car or not. I honestly just don't see any anything detrimental happening to the team if they don't take on that sponsorship. It's not like they're absolutely desperate to have that sponsorship on the car week after week. I'm fairly certain that with the name of Junior, with the name of Gibbs, there's going to be some sponsor that's going to come on and sponsor that car week after week, whether they have a young gun in that car or not.
well, that's like a couple of years ago. There was like a couple of years ago when Junior Motorsports was trying to think it was early on in like 2010, 2011, where Junior was sponsoring his own cars. He could not find the sponsorship to run the car, and it's like, okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying, but still, if you can't find your own sponsorship for your car to run 300 miles on Saturday, then put like your Sprint Cup sponsor on there. That's the way I feel. I'm going edgy.
Yeah, but
Today.
it's up to the sponsor to decide if they want to sponsor that car or not. You can't just slap a sponsor on there.
Well, I mean, I get that, but I highly doubt that Junior's going to see one of his cars have Junior Motorsports on the car and not talk to Mountain Dew or Nationwide to come over and sponsor him for at least a race.
I guess I guess I guess also another thing that I just kind of like to say is just been because I kind of feel like, to kind of expand upon like the competition or whatever. I just feel like that, like when you think about like 10 years ago in the Xfinity series, which was at that time called the Busch series. I just feel like you had the drivers like Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, and a couple other Xfinity drivers that were not racing in Cup full time. I kind of feel like to me those drivers, to be Xfinity regulars, were able to kind of keep their own and actually be able to actually contend against the Cup drivers in those seasons. And the thing is, Martin Truex Jr. won back-to-back championships and won a lot of races in both 2004 and 2005. So did Kyle Busch. He was definitely, contending. And I just kind of feel like, to me, it just feels like that now, like, I would just like to see more of like an equal playing field. Like,
yeah.
Like, for example, I wouldn't have the biggest problem with the Cup drivers as long as there's just simply some competition between Cup and Xfinity.
Yeah, don't put them in the strong cars. I mean,
I like what Roush does now. They don't put any Cup regulars in their car. They put in their Xfinity cars. They put like Chris Busch or Bubba Wallace. They put Elliott Sadler.
Bubba?
What about
Riley.
Trevor Banks?
None of those guys
He's
run.
gonna get Cup and Xfinity win these days.
And to your point too, you're bringing the developmental drivers into their into their Xfinity Series team, so that way, maybe a year, maybe 2 years down the road, we're gonna see them up in Sprint Cup. And Elliott Sadler, he's kind of, he's like, I've been up in Sprint Cup. Now I'm gonna, go back and just race full time in the Xfinity Series. Regan Smith, I think, is kind of in the same boat. I don't have a problem with that, and I honestly think that Roush is going about it the right way, because how else are you going to get these developmental drivers for the next 5-10 years to be ready for Sprint Cup Series if you don't get them started somehow and give them a full-time ride in Xfinity?
That's like, trying to think who it was who didn't really need Xfinity. I mean, I guess you can say Kevin Harvick, but Harvick had a year experience in 2000.
Right.
So I'm trying to think the last person that I know of that didn't need Xfinity. Who's the last one?
I don't know. I kind of felt like 10 years ago, and probably like 10 plus years ago, I kind of felt like that we actually saw like some surprises, like because for example, like there were definitely some like surprises that that weren't expected to happen from the Xfinities. Like for example, Jimmy Johnson in 2001, he was in the Xfinity series, and even though he got one win, he was not dominant, and I think he finished 10th in points that year. Look at the next year, Jeff Gordon brings this driver, and I'm sure a lot of people were like, why is Gordon bringing Jimmy Johnson into the Cup Series when he's not very, very good at Xfinity? And then all of a sudden Johnson starts, he won 3 races a year, and at one point he was actually the points leader. So the thing is, surprises actually can come from the Xfinity Series if you're not running very good, but I just feel like it's like, because the thing is, not every driver is like a Jimmy Johnson, where it's like you can finish 10th in points in Xfinity, and then all of a sudden the next year, Superstar Cup,
Yeah.
Well, I think the last driver that didn't need much experience in the Xfinity race was Tony Stewart from like 1999. Yeah, he had some races in Xfinity, but they were mediocre runs at best. What does he do in 99? He wins the pole for Daytona 500, then wins Richmond, wins a couple more races in that season, and it's like, okay, I can get behind this guy. He's a hotshot rookie. Plus, his feud with Kenny Owen was pretty funny at Martinsville when he got wrecked, trying to get in his car. So, yeah.
Alright, well, I think it's about time to wrap up this week's episode. I want to thank you guys for joining me for this week. Hopefully, this time the file doesn't get corrupted.
Praying.
After like 5 tries.
I don't think this one will get corrupted because I haven't had any problems with it, but we'll just have to make sure it goes into the Windows Movie Maker correctly. So anyway, go ahead.
One idea I actually wanted to ask you, Steph, is that are you the only person who can press the record button?
Yes.
Okay, because at first I was like, well, what if we could all record it? So that way, if one person's recording got corrupted, then you could use mine, for example.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
What if everybody's recording got corrupted?
Illuminati confirmed.
I kind of can't record.
Yeah.
My name is PewDiePie.
Oh. Okay, so anyway, thank you all so much for joining me here for this. For everybody that watched, if you want to join us for future NASCAR talks, I try and do them on Saturday, so that when people are able to make them and everything, but I post when they're going to be on the NS Arena 2003 Series Facebook group page. Also, be sure to subscribe to everybody that took part in today's episode. The links to all of their channels will be down in the description. So, looking forward to hopefully a Richmond race tonight. Maybe rain will
I need that YouTube bunny.
Maybe rain will end up pushing it to Sunday. They're also saying that there's supposed to be rain up to 2 o'clock tomorrow, possibly. So we don't know when we're gonna get this race in. Don't know when this race is gonna be run. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed the Richmond race, and hopefully we gave you some helpful insight into possible fantasy picks and everything. So, for me and everybody else, see you next week, everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
See ya.
Bye.